This is a $500 fine for unauthorized construction. The woman thrust an orange violation notice into my hand. Ma'am, this road is on my property. Your improvements disrupt our community standards, she snapped. Pay the fine or face legal action, I stared at her. Then at the county permits in my truck. Then at the 60-foot easement cutting through my ranch, the only access route her entire subdivision had used for 32 years, without paying me a single dollar. Actually, I said quietly, I think we need to talk about who owes WHO money here. I'm Evan Rorick, 47 years old, road engineer turned rancher. Spent 20 years designing highways for people who never thanked the folks who built them. Now I build roads for myself. The last of the gravel settled under the roller as I eased the machine to a stop that December morning. 300 feet of new access road stretched clean and straight across my ranch, finally replacing the mud-slick track that 8 trucks hole every spring. County permits filed. Survey certified. Engineering perfect. I'd handled it myself. And for the first time in months, I felt like I'd taken something broken and made it right. Then I heard the tires. Too smooth, too eager, too damn familiar. A white SUV rolled up, gleaming like it had never met dirt. The door swung open. The woman who stepped out moved with practiced authority. Mid-40s. Perfectly styled despite early hour. Carrying clipboard like a badge of office. She hadn't dressed for ranch work. She wore what looked like corporate armor crimson red blazer, tailored to perfection over black silk top with V-neck that caught morning light, pencil skirt that matched the blazer, red heels that had no business on gravel. Wine brown hair fell in waves past her shoulders. Red lipstick gleamed. Everything about her screamed authority, wealth, and absolute certainty. She was right. Mr. Rorick, she said, voice clipped and cold. This is for you. Bright orange violation notice snapped against my palm. Unauthorized construction. Aesthetic disruption. Immediate payment required $500. I let the words sink in. You've got the wrong property. This road is on my land. Always has been. Linda Marston, HOA, president of Willow Bend Estates, lifted her chin. Your road impacts visual harmony of our community. We have standards. You'll comply like everyone else. I'm not in your HOA. That's debatable. She snapped. Your parcel touches our border. Your improvements affect shared access corridors. She said it with confidence of someone used to winning arguments by simply refusing to lose them. I'd dealt with bureaucrats like her my whole career. People who mistook paperwork for authority, intimidation for law. Still, something felt off. Too aggressive. Too rehearsed. I folded the notice. You're trespassing, Linda. And you're wrong. She smiled thin. Satisfied line. Pay the fine. Mr. Rorick. Or we'll pursue remedies faster than you think. She turned on her heel, heels clicking like metronome of arrogance, and climbed back into the SUV. Engine revved, throwing dust across my boots as she sped toward the subdivision over the ridge. I watched her taillights vanish, irritation spreading through my ribs. Why would she storm onto my ranch the moment the road was finished? Why threaten fines over something she had no authority over? Linda wasn't stupid. She was calculated. Her showing up wasn't accident. It was a move. And moves meant stakes I couldn't see yet. I glanced back at the new road. Clean, even, compliant with every county regulation. Nothing justified her sudden interest. Nothing except one simple truth. She needed this road to matter. As evening wind cut across the ranch, one question hung heavier than any fine she could write. Why does Linda care so damn much about a road that isn't hers? The answer didn't wait long. By morning, a stack of envelopes sat crooked in my mailbox. HOA seals, red stamps, thick manila folders shoved in like someone was in a hurry. I carried them into kitchen. Spreading them across table, every document was new attempt at authority violation notice, environmental concern, mandatory corrective action, aesthetic review request. None of it meant anything legally, but the sheer volume meant something. At bottom sat certified letter demanding I restore natural terrain where new road lay as if 300-foot county permitted access improvement was graffiti. Before I could finish reading, patrol truck pulled up outside. Deputy Cole Huxley approached porch with expression cops wear when they know they're wasting time. Morning. Evan. You mind if we talk about concerns raised yesterday? HOA business. He sigh-hid. Yeah, they called in unauthorized roadway complaint. Said it affects community safety. I handed him the permits. Fully legal, county approved. He scanned them, nodding. I figured, Linda's been trying to push her boundaries for years. Thinks everything within shouting distance of Willow Bend belongs to her. He lowered voice. Between you and me, they've been sniffing around county office about future development. She's trying to expand HOA jurisdiction. Your land sits right in the way. Ah, I said quietly. So that's why she wants control. Feels like it. He tucked paperwork back. Look, I'll write this up as resolved. You're clean, but expect more noise from her. When he drove off, porch felt heavier under my boots. Linda wasn't acting out of spite. She was moving with intention. That evening, as I studied letters again, knock rattled wooden door. Old neighbor Tom Keller stood outside, leaning on steel surveyor's cane, eyes sharp behind tired wrinkles. You got a minute? I motioned him in. He didn't bother with small talk, just dropped rolled map onto table. Edges yellowed. Ink faded enough to prove age. He tapped corner with gnarled finger. 1982 original plat. Before that subdivision existed, back then, this whole stretch was county-managed farmland, including your lot. I leaned closer. Tom unrolled map fully, revealing easement lines like veins across topographic body. Then he pointed at one thick strip cutting directly across MY property that, he said, is the only legal access corridor. Willow Bend has to county road. Developer negotiated it before they broke ground. Without it, they're boxed in. New ingress. New egress. No emergency clearance. No residential viability. I stared at the corridor 60 feet wide, running right through path Linda called aesthetic violation. Hold on. You're telling me their access runs across my land? Runs right through it. He confirmed. And here's the part they don't want you knowing. This easement is conditional. Means they owe maintenance fees and must comply with county agreements. Most HOAs pay out annually. Willow Bend never paid a dime. I felt the air shift. Not a gust outside. Something internal. Pressure turning into leverage. Tom, if they lose access, they lose everything. He finished. Property values tank. Mortgages default. Insurance policies get flagged. It would be disaster. I exhaled slowly, all Linda's aggression, her rush to assert dominance, her insistence that my improvements affected her community. It wasn't arrogance. It was fear disguised as authority. She thought she was protecting power. Instead, she'd just revealed weakness. Tom stepped back, boots creaking on old floorboards. I figured you should know what you're standing on. A lot of folks don't realize how these old easements work. But Linda, he gave dry chuckle. She knows. Or she's about to. The ranch seemed different when he left. Same dirt. Same fence posts. Same new road. But everything felt charged. I looked at violation notice still folded on counter. $500 wasn't the point. Not even close. Linda didn't care about aesthetics. She cared because this road connected her entire neighborhood to outside world, and she had no control over it. I picked up map again, tracing that 60-foot strip with my thumb. This wasn't a fine. This was a warning. And I just discovered the one truth Linda never expected me to know. She needed this road a hell of a lot more than I did. That realization settled in my chest like steel weight. Knowledge like that wasn't just leverage, it was a fuse waiting for right spark. And Linda struck the match faster than I anticipated. By next morning, new violation notice was taped to my gate. Slanted. Aggressive. Damp with dew. Failure to comply will result in additional penalties. Not even signed. Just HOA seal, stamped at angle like someone too angry to line it up. Dusty tire tracks, curved near cattle fence. Someone had pulled in far enough to reach gate, but not confront me directly. Cowards work in drive-bys. 30 minutes later, neighbor, indented blue sedan, crept down my road. Rolled down window. Apologized before words even formed. I'm sorry. Mr. Rorick, she whispered. They said you were diverting water runoff from subdivision. They're telling folks you're putting whole neighborhood at risk. I blinked. Runoff. What runoff? Linda said your new road interrupts natural drainage patterns. Said your slope grading is dangerous. The absurdity nearly made me laugh, if not for tremor in woman's voice. She wasn't here to accuse me. She was here to warn me. Slow burn started behind my ribs. This wasn't ignorance. This was strategy. Manufactured fear. Using rumors to isolate me before I could fight back. Thank you for telling me. I said, be careful. Don't let them pressure you. She nodded hard and drove off, glancing in rear view like she expected to be followed. Around noon, pair of HOA volunteers matching polos. Clipboards held tight, walked perimeter of my property as if they owned the place. One took pictures with phone. Other jotted notes. Peering over fence like kid hoping to see bear. I walked up to fence line. Can I help you? Older one stiffened. We're conducting community survey. On my land. Visual assessment. Perfectly allowed. Not on private property. I corrected. And certainly not with camera. We're documenting potential hazards. He said, lifting chin. Your construction may be violating county safety standards. That sentence told me everything. They weren't gathering evidence. They were building a story. I stepped closer. You take one more photo, and your next stop will be sheriff's office. Man lowered phone slowly. They left, trying to appear casual, but pace had urgency written all over it. 10 minutes later, their report, whatever fiction they crafted, would land in Linda's hands. And she'd twist it into something worse. But real blow landed when Maya Henderson knocked on my door that evening. She stood with her son, maybe 6 years old. Sneakers dusty and torn. She looked exhausted. Eyes sunken. Hair tied in messy knot. Voice thinned from holding back something close to breaking. "I just wanted to warn you," she said. "Linda's coming for you hard." I figured. "But why you?" She swallowed. "Because I told her you weren't doing anything wrong." Maya handed me 3 letters she'd received that week. Mailbox non-compliant. Grass height violation. Unauthorized parking during daylight hours. Harmless on paper. Devastating in pattern. "You think these are because of me." "I think these are because you didn't side with Linda," I said. "That's different." She nodded, confirming fear behind her eyes. "She's telling people you're building something dangerous, that you'll get subdivision sued. She's calling you unstable." And she said, Maya paused. She said you'll destroy property values if you're not stopped. Weight of those lies pulsed like bruise. "That's slander." I muttered, "That's Linda." She replied. I escorted her out and watched her leave. Car bouncing along same road that had somehow become center of war I hadn't agreed to fight. Sun dipped behind ridge, dragging shadows across my land. I stepped back inside and stared at folder Tom Keller had given me, that 60-foot easement cutting across my acreage like scalpel line. Rumors were annoying. Fines were laughable. But trespass, manipulation, targeting single mother, that was escalation. And escalation demanded response. I grabbed notepad and listed 3 questions. Why is Linda so desperate to control my land? What else is she hiding about original development plans? What evidence can expose her tactics to county? 3rd question stuck like hook. Evidence wasn't just tool, it was currency. And Linda had already given me reason to collect plenty. Next morning, I headed out before sunrise with box of trail cameras, lithium batteries, memory cards. These weren't cheap hunting toys, they were time-stamped. Motion triggered. High-definition evidence collectors. I mounted them low on fence posts, high on cottonwoods, tucked few inside camouflaged housings near Easement Road. Every angle of my property that connected to Willow Bend would now answer to ME, not rumor. By noon, a first camera had already caught something. Dusty HOA maintenance truck rolled up to fence line. 2 men hopped out. Didn't knock. Didn't call. Didn't pretend to ask permission. Older one lifted trash bag from truck bed grass clippings, hedge scraps, bits of concrete, and tossed it casually over fence like feeding ducks. Camera caught all of it. Angle, timestamp, identity. Perfect. By time they drove off. Second truck arrived. Different men. Same routine. They dumped 2 bags. Scraped shovel against my soil. Climbed back in without backward glance. I checked camera 4 an hour later. Another crew dumping again, a pattern. Not accident. Coordinated habit. This wasn't about aesthetics. This was about convenience. Cutting disposal costs by treating my property like free landfill. And for first time since Linda showed up with that $500 fine. Slow, dangerous smile pulled at corner of my mouth. They thought they were building case, but every bag they dumped was building mine. That afternoon, I drove into town to meet Grace Delaney, land use attorney Sheriff Walker had recommended. She greeted me with handshake firm enough to crack stone. I laid violation letters. Tom's plat map. and USB stick of morning's footage on her desk. Grace watched first clip in silence, then leaned back. Eyebrows raised. "Well?" she said. "They've gifted you evidence of systematic trespass. Multiple incidents. Repeated violations." She paused. "And if those debris piles cross your property line even an inch..." "They do," I confirmed. 15 feet inside. Tom measured. She nodded. "That's civil damages. Significant ones." I slid Tom's old survey map toward her. "There's more." Grace traced easement corridor with finger. This is subdivision's only access route. Isn't it?" "Exactly." She flipped through legal tablet. "Any HOA using private land for access owes annual maintenance payments. These agreements usually run 20 to 40 years. Tom says Willow Bend has never complied." Grace leaned forward, eyes sharpening. "Then they owe you back fees, interest, penalties, possibly 6 figures depending on how agreement was structured." I felt room shift. Grace looked at me over glasses. "Evan, they've been trespassing on land that legally upholds their entire neighborhood. And they don't even know what you now hold in your hands." Her words struck like hammer. So this was truth buried beneath all Linda's noise. HOA wasn't just overstepping. They were vulnerable. Legally, financially, structurally, and they'd been hiding that vulnerability under mountain of paperwork meant to intimidate me. "Start documenting everything," Grace said. "Dates, times, photos, trespass logs. Don't confront them. Let violations accumulate. More they do, stronger your position becomes." I nodded. "One more thing," Grace added. "If Linda realizes you're getting close to truth, she'll escalate. Expect retaliation." She was right. That evening, a pack of HOA volunteers returned. 3 of them. They parked half on my road, half in ditch, walked right up to fence, started taking photos of my home like they were auctioning it off. I stepped outside. One volunteer stiffened. "We're documenting grading violations. On private land, this area affects community. It affects your commute." I corrected. "That's different." They froze. For first time, flicker of doubt crossed their faces. Maybe they sensed I knew something. Maybe they realized land they stood on wasn't theirs to judge. They left quickly. After they disappeared, I checked cameras again. Camera 6. Far end of easement caught HOA board member cutting across my pasture on foot. Not bothering with road at all. He hopped fence, walked straight through grazing field, used shortcut connecting back end of Willow Bend to County Highway, shortcut entirely on my land. Grace had said document everything. I did, but what stuck wasn't trespass, it was direction he came from. Worn footpath, almost invisible except in footage, meaning this wasn't new. This was habit. Long-term routine. Problem wasn't that HOA violated my rights today. Problem was they'd been violating them for years, and only now had someone stood still long enough to notice. I saved footage, backed it up twice, wrote single line in growing file. HOA members use private land as unofficial access route. Long-standing pattern document frequency. As I slid folder shut, another thought surfaced. If they were this careless on camera, what else were they doing I hadn't seen yet? I glanced towards subdivision, lights flickering beyond ridge. Linda had started this fight believing I was obstacle. But tonight, I saw what she feared most. I wasn't obstacle. I was landowner with truth, and truth was already turning into weapons she couldn't control. By midweek, Willow Bend's tension spilled into open. Cars idled longer at entrance. Homeowners lingered in clusters, whispering sharp and fast. Someone plastered flyers on mailboxes, UN-safe roadwork threatens community. No name signed. But language reeked of Linda's brand. Then calls started. First, zoning. Then utilities. Then folks who handle rural drainage assessments. Each agency reached out with same careful phrasing. We received complaint about your recent improvements. I walked each one through my permits. All approved. All clean. Textbook. Agents apologized, some frustrated, some amused. All aware they'd been dragged into something petty. But each call cost time. Each inspection disrupted work. Each interruption had same purpose apply, pressure until I cracked. I didn't crack, but Willow Bend did. First real fracture came from a man named Harris Bennett, who limped across easement one afternoon, leaning hard on cane. Mr. Rorick, he panted. You need to hear what's happening. What's going on? They're panicking. All of them. He wiped brow. Linda told board, you're planning to sever access to neighborhood. She's saying, you're holding easement hostage. I stared. I haven't done anything. I know. He raised hands. But rumors spread faster than truth. People are scared property values. Mortgages. Emergency services. She's throwing those words around like grenades. I exhaled slowly. More Linda stoked fear. To harder her community would dig in behind her. What else has she said? He hesitated. She's claiming road you built will wash out during next heavy rain and flood entire South Slope. Says your grading violated county code. I didn't respond immediately. Two things became clear. Linda wasn't slowing down. And if she wanted war of narratives, she'd just declared it. Thank you for telling me. I said, be careful on your way back. He nodded and hurried across my land, glancing behind like someone might be watching. By evening, HOA's panic turned into full-blown disorder. 3 SUVs blocked easement. Woman in aviators paced up and down gravel, taking photos from every angle. They weren't looking for truth. They were looking for ammunition. I documented everything. Biggest shift came later that night when Maya showed up again, this time without her son. She clutched wrinkled HOA memo. They held board meeting. She said, closed door. This was slipped under my door afterward. I opened memo. Worse than rumors. Worse than trespasses. Formal OA statement. We believe Mr. Tension's a formal OA statement. Rorick has unlawfully altered land impacting Willow Bend estates. We are preparing to pursue legal remedies. Residents advised to document any perceived hazards. Document hazards, meaning create hazards if necessary. Maya's voice shook. This place is turning into pressure cooker. And you? She met my eyes. I think Linda's afraid of something she doesn't want anyone discovering, and she's lashing out to keep control. Smart woman. I thanked her. Moment she was out of sight. I called Grace. Let me guess. She answered. More retaliation. More than that. She's mobilizing whole neighborhood. Grace didn't pause. Good. More they move. More they violate. And more they violate. Stronger your position grows. Stay patient. I hung up and stepped outside again. Far across easement. Faint porch lights from Willow Bend blinked like cluster of uneasy stars. They were scared. And scared people made mistakes. As I checked cameras one last time, one clip stopped me cold. Camera 9 caught HOA vice president kneeling near my fencing, pushing small pile of gravel against base of post. Then he took photos angled carefully, selectively making it look like erosion from my road had washed up against their line. Manufactured evidence. Setup, I saved footage. Added it to folder. Wrote new line HOA attempting to fabricate environmental hazards. High risk activity. Continue collecting proof. Something deep inside me settled. Not anger, not outrage. Isdalv, quiet and steady as land I stood on. HOA had turned pressure up as far as they could. Now pot was rattling and lid was about to blow, because every rumor they spread, every trespass committed, every scrap of manufactured evidence was becoming part of case I would use to dismantle them. Linda wanted fear. She wanted panic. She wanted community united behind her authority. But what she got was record growing, undeniable record that was going to bury her deeper than any roadwork ever could. 2 days later, I stepped into Grace's office with USB drives and stack of violation notices. She spread documents across desk like puzzle pieces. They're spiraling. She said, "Good for us, bad for them. But we need something stronger than trespass footage. Stronger than fabricating hazards." I showed her clip of vice president staging gravel erosion. She didn't smile. "Evan, this proves misconduct. It doesn't end them. What ends them is easement." She tapped old plat map. "This is real battlefield." Grace outlined what I already suspected. HOA's survival depended entirely on legal agreement they'd ignored for 3 decades. "Before we send anything formal," she continued, "we confirm 2 things. County acknowledges you control easement terms. HOA is legally in breach repeatedly. And after that," she folded map. "After that, we give them notice. Deadline. And we let them panic themselves into destruction." When I returned to ranch, place felt different. Charged. Ready? Every camera live. Every trespass documented. Growing file that felt more like ledger of consequences. That evening, Tom showed up carrying thin folder of county maintenance logs. You're going to want to see this. Logs confirmed it. For 32 years. Willow Bend failed to contribute single dollar toward easement upkeep. Tom scratched jaw. Developers left area fast, back in 80s. HOA supposed to take over obligations. They never did. And county never pushed them quiet town. Busy officials. No one wanted fight. But now there is fight. That's why I'm here. He tapped folder. With this, they're cornered. Linda knows it. Or suspects it. That's why she's throwing everything at you, Noise. Panic. Accusations. She's trying to bury truth before you can use it. Something inside me stilled. Cold and clear. Noise couldn't stop truth. But it could try to drown it. And now I understood why Linda fought so violently. If easement issue went public, her presidency would crumble. Property values would plummet. Homeowners would revolt. She wasn't protecting community. She was protecting herself. I thanked Tom and spent rest of night assembling file sorting evidence. Timestamps. Correspondence. Maps. What started as $500 fine had transformed into case file thick enough to make auditors sweat. Around midnight, I opened fresh document and typed words. Grace prepared formal notice of easement breach. I didn't send it. Not yet. Grace insisted we wait until county verified every detail. You don't spring trap when prey is calm. You spring it when they're moving fast and not watching where they step. Next morning, county answered. Tom's measurements official. Easement route, still active. Land beneath it belonged entirely, unquestionably, to ME. Final line from county clerk changed everything. Should landowner issue compliance, demand, or revoke access? This office acknowledges his authority to do so, pending formal process. In plain English, if I wanted to shut their only access road, county would honor it. I forwarded email to Grace. 2 minutes later, she called. Evan, we're green lit. I'm drafting demand letter. 90 days to pay, 30 years of overdue easement fees. They won't be able to afford it. And when they can't, she didn't need to finish. HOA would have no legal right to use road. No access, no leverage, no power. Once you serve this letter, Grace continued. Linda will blow. Be ready. I hung up and stared at road I'd built. Clean lines. Firm edges. Leading straight into subdivision like Lifeline. Lifeline I now legally controlled. Next day. Delivery truck arrived carrying steel ranch gate system. High tensile posts. Reinforced hinges. Programmable keypad. Remote receiver. Everything required to turn easement from free-for-all into controlled access. I installed it with precision. Each bolt tightened was another layer of protection by 5 p.m. Posts set. Concrete curing. Gate ready to swing. This wasn't aggression. This was procedure. Grace reviewed permitting and emailed final confirmation. All access modifications compliant. Proceed. That word proceed hit like starter pistol at dawn. I closed the gate. No theatrics. No announcement. Just quiet clank of metal locking into place. Within minutes, honking began. SUVs. Sedans. Work trucks lining up. Expecting usual free pass. Confusion turned to frustration. Frustration turned to anger. Linda arrived last, screeching up in spotless white Lexus. Face contorted with indignation. What have you done? She demanded. Behind her, people watched, not with hostility, but fear, dawning realization they'd never truly understood who owned what. I lifted laminated sign. I'd posted access, suspended, pending settlement of outstanding easement obligations. Contact HOA board for instructions. Residents turned to Linda in unison. Her expression faltered. Mask cracked. This is extortion, she shouted. He cannot do this. This road is ours. It's not. Tom said, stepping forward. It never was. County confirmed it. Maya, holding daughter's hand, asked softly Linda, did you know about the fees? Silence lasted too long. That's when fracture line split open. You said easement was settled. Did you lie about maintenance obligations? Why weren't we told this could happen? Linda, what did you do? Her face flushed scarlet. Everyone, calm down. I will handle this legal matter. I cut her off. You've had 30 years to handle it. Crowd shifted toward ME. Not citing, just listening. Linda pointed shaking finger. Open that gate immediately, or you'll what I asked. Ripple of uneasy laughter moved through group. She'd lost them, and she knew it. Still, she lunged at keypad, punching random numbers, jabbing buttons. Linda, I warned. You're damaging private property. She spun. You can't hold entire community hostage. I'm not. I said calmly. Your unpaid obligations are... She tried shouting over me, but sheer weight of residents behind her smothered momentum. Their expressions weren't angry anymore. They were tired. Tired of her battles, her fines, her endless crusades. Moment, her authority faltered. Panic replaced fury. She retreated to car, fumbling for phone. I knew exactly who she was, calling lawyers, board members, maybe local news, but legal timing was already against her. Grace's certified deadline started ticking yesterday. 90 days. No extensions. No negotiations. Man stepped forward from crowd, middle-aged, tired eyes. Still in work uniform. Sir, does this mean we can't get to work? I nodded. Not until HOA leadership addresses breach. So we're trapped because of her. Not anger, realization. They weren't my enemies. They were her collateral damage. Linda screamed from inside Lexus, "Don't listen to him. This is illegal. I will fix this." But no one moved toward her. No one supported her. That isolation visible, sharp as snapped wire, hit her harder than any legal threat. As crowd dispersed, Linda remained in car, staring at gate like it was verdict, because it was. Reversal complete. Road that had always been mine was now unmistakably, unavoidably held by ME, and Linda's control. Her entire identity had just collapsed against steel she couldn't push open. Answer came 48 hours later, envelope stamped urgent hearing. Linda filed emergency injunction claiming I unlawfully hindered essential community infrastructure and caused widespread economic harm. Grace called moment notice hit. She's trying to flip narrative, hoping county panics before they read documents. Will it work? Only if we walk in unprepared. And we're not. Hearing room buzzed when we arrived. Willow Bend residents crowded back wall, confused, angry, desperate. 2 news crews hovered at edges. At front table sat Linda. Posture stiff, hands folded over, color-coded binders. Young attorney beside her, probably hired yesterday, kept rehearsing talking points. Linda stared at me, not with rage, something colder. County Supervisor Marks opened session. Miss Marston, you've petitioned for emergency action against Mr. Rorick. Present your claims. Linda Rose. Smoothing blazer. Members of County Board. Our subdivision has been unlawfully held hostage by landowner acting outside authority. He obstructed our only road, cut off families, endangered livelihoods, and is demanding exorbitant payments unsupported by law. Voice steady, practiced, rehearsed. These so-called easement fees are fabrication he concocted to justify extortion. We ask Board to restore immediate access and sanction Mr. Rorick accordingly. Murmur moved through room. Mothers holding kids. Retirees. Commuters who'd been late to work, she'd weaponized their discomfort. Marks turned to me. Mr. Rorick response. Grace stood before I could. Gladly. She placed 3 folders on table. Not theatrical, just precise. First, she said, claim this is public road is false. Land privately owned and maintained since 1987. Confirmed repeatedly by county records. She handed board copies of original plat. Second, HOA has crossed easement for decades without fulfilling contractual obligation to maintain it or compensate landowner. 32 years of unpaid fees. Linda's jaw tensed. Third, Mr. Rorick did not obstruct access. He installed legally compliant gate after issuing proper notice of breach. Residents were never denied passage. Only HOA leadership refused to distribute access instructions. Murmuring shifted tone. Eyes drifted toward Linda. Grace opened second folder. Fourth, HOA board under Miss Marston's direction engaged in repeated trespass, waste dumping, and staged violations captured clearly on time-stamped trail footage. Supervisor Marks leaned forward. Trail footage. Grace nodded. Multiple board members dumping debris 15 feet inside his property, and Miss Marston herself inspecting boundary at night, instructing staff to apply pressure. Linda's attorney whispered sharply, but she ignored him. And finally, Grace said, opening third folder. Miss Marston filed 3 false police reports accusing Mr. Rorick of obstruction before any gate was installed. Deputy Cole stood from back row. That's correct. Every report was invalid. Gasp rippled through room. Now Grace stepped aside. Mr. Keller. Tom walked forward with steadiness earned from decades with county records. He placed maintenance logs on table. These show no payments from Willow Bend HOA toward easement since creation. HOA has been in breach every year of existence. Marks frowned. And why wasn't this raised before? Tom met his eyes. Because no one ever challenged them until now. Room fell silent. Linda stood suddenly. This is coordinated attack conspiracy. These documents are incomplete. Outdated. Misinterpreted. Grace didn't look at her. She looked at board. Then, let's settle it right now. Supervisor. Please ask Miss Marston one question. Marks nodded. Miss Marston. Did HOA ever pay easement maintenance fees to any landowner? Including Mr. Rorick or predecessors. Silence. Miss Marston. Face twitched. Fight or flight battling under skin. Finally. Barely whisper. No. Air left room like punctured tire. Grace closed folder gently. No further evidence needed. Linda's lawyer tried salvaging something. Supervisor. The residents. Mark's raised hand. Residents aren't at issue. Leadership is. He conferred with panel for less than 60 seconds. When he turned back, expression was final. Board finds HOA in violation of easement obligations. Mr. Rorick acted within rights. HOA, responsible for outstanding fees, legal penalties, and damages related to trespass and false reporting. Linda sagged back into chair, color drained, hands trembling. But Marks wasn't finished. Effective immediately, Miss Marston is removed as HOA board president. HOA must appoint interim leadership. Access to easement reinstated only under Mr. Rorick's terms. Residents stared at her with mix of disbelief and betrayal. Maya stepped forward. You did this to us. Not him. You. Those words broke whatever remained of Linda's composure. She lunged forward, pointing at me as if rage alone could rewrite outcome. You think this is over. Marks slammed gavel. It is. She froze. Security escorted her out, not forcibly, but firmly, leaving behind silence thicker than any argument. Silence of truth finally catching up. For first time in months, road approaching my ranch was quiet. Not tense waiting. Final settlement. County ruling spread through Willow Bend faster than any HOA memo. Emails. Group chats. Porch-to-porch conversations. By next morning, community's entire gravity had shifted. At 9 a.m., small delegation approached my gate, cautious. Unsure if welcome, Maya was among them, holding daughter's hand. "Mr. Rorick," she began. "We wanted to say thank you for standing up when rest of us couldn't." Man next to her construction foreman nodded. "We let her push us around too long. You didn't." I wasn't expecting gratitude, but hearing it mattered. I unlocked control panel and held up stack of fresh access cards. "These are for residents," I said. "Not board, not president, residents." People exhaled at same time, relief, collapsing into gratitude, one by one. They collected cards, thanking me quietly. It wasn't celebration. It was rebuilding. By noon, first official change came. Formal letter from acting HOA treasurer announcing Linda Marston's resignation, effective immediately. Temporary leadership committee. External audit ordered unanimously. Attached was check. Very large check. $87,500. Unpaid easement fees calculated and certified. Grace texted seconds after receiving copy. "Deposit it." This is their first step toward lawful operations. Check wasn't about money. It was about acknowledgement. Later that afternoon, Deputy Cole drove up, no lights. No urgency. He stepped out carrying small envelope. "County asked me to deliver this personally." I opened it. "All allegations against Mr. Rorick dismissed. No violations found. No further investigation needed." Cole shrugged. "Told them from start you weren't problem. Thank you for staying level-headed." He snorted. Watching her meltdown was most entertainment I've had all year. When he left, dust rolled across road in soft trail. No sirens. No shouting. Just quiet. Kind that follows long fight reaching natural end. By evening, new HOA committee emailed entire neighborhood official apology for leadership misconduct, misrepresentation, and hostile governance. Wasn't perfect. Apologies from committees rarely are, but it meant something. They understood. They were learning. Maya stopped by around sunset with freshly baked cornbread. My daughter asked if Bad Lady is gone forever. She said with tired smile. "County says she'll be dealing with consequences for a while." I replied, "Your daughter won't have to worry about her anymore." Maya exhaled in a way that told me she'd been holding that breath for years. As night settled, I walked length of easement one last time, not out of vigilance, but closure. Road was mine again. Not by force, not by fear, by Lao. Gate clicked softly as it opened for resident heading home. Clean, decisive sound. Not barrier, boundary. Kind that protects everyone, not just person who controls latch. When I returned to porch, wind had settled, carrying faint scent of pine and dust, familiar smell of frontier that rewards patience, preparation, and truth. $500 fine sparked this entire war. Fine, written out of arrogance, delivered with entitlement. Enforced by someone who believed power came from intimidation. But an end, power came from knowledge, preparation, documentation, law. And as ranch settled into evening quiet, I understood something I hadn't when this began. Linda hadn't underestimated Emmy. She'd underestimated the law, and that mistake cost her everything. I took one last look at open road I built, road I defended, and closed ledger on HOA's reign for good. Justice isn't loud. It's steady. It's written on dust and paper, and this time, dust settled exactly where it belonged.